Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and it's cooler, and I'm back in the studio, thank heavens. Couldn't have sat in it yesterday, it was meltingly hot. Anyway, got a story here about Nigel Farage and why he hasn't gone to Scotland. He hasn't campaigned once in Scotland this election, and there's claims that it's because he's a bit frit. I suggest no, he's being sensible considering the last time he campaigned in Scotland, SNP Thuggery overtook the whole situation and he had to be rescued, and he doesn't want to open that can of worms again. But it is very telling that it was the SNP thugs that did it, the brown shirts. Again, very reminiscent of 1930s Germany. And so who can blame him? Who can blame him for putting his personal safety ahead of his political ambitions? But it does go to show that in Scotland, if you're going to campaign, you have to be aware that the vindictiveness and nastiness of the nasty party is always there, bubbling under. Let's take a look and see what's going on. Here goes. So, before we get into it, I would ask if you do hit that subscribe button, just to make sure you are subscribed. And if you think you're subscribed, please check. Sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you without your knowledge or permission. They're sneaky. They don't like political channels. And of course, definitely hit the like button, because that absolutely goes well with the algorithm. Anyway, Nigel Farage has not come to Scotland during the general election campaign because it is, and in quotes, dangerous. Well, that's because of the threats, because of what happened last time. Farage had to be rescued from a locked Edinburgh pub by police in 2013 after demonstrators hijacked a UKIP press conference. Those demonstrators, of course, were SNP, anti-UK lot. They didn't like the idea of UK being independent. They still don't, of course. And yet they say it's wrong for the United Kingdom to be independent, but it's right for Scotland to be independent. How weird they are. And perhaps they're a bit thick and don't understand what the word independence means. Odd, isn't it? Anyway, Nigel Farage has not visited Scotland during this general election campaign because it is dangerous, Reform UK's chairman has said. This is Richard Tice, of course. Richard Tice said security and safety was a real issue for the Reform leader during a press conference at Grangemouth on Wednesday afternoon. Now, of course, the people at Grangemouth, they know which way they should vote. They can't possibly vote for the party that allowed Grangemouth to be closed down. You know, the party being the SNP. And yet there will be people who are in Grangemouth who are going to lose their job and who will still say, yes, I'm going to be unemployed, I'm going to be in great poverty, my family are going to suffer. But you know what, it's worth it if we can get the SNP in, because in 150 years' time we might be independent. These are the people you're dealing with, you know. Anyway, Farage had to be rescued from a locked Edinburgh pub by police in 2013. His attempts to raise the profile of UKIP, the party he then led, in Scotland were greeted by angry protests. Well, hey, say it ain't so. Tice also said Farage was unlikely to come to Scotland before the election in 7 days' time. It says 8. This was written yesterday afternoon. Yes, just a week to go, folks. So do check to see who in your constituency is the party most likely to either eject a sitting SNP MP or the one that's most likely to keep the SNP from winning the seat, and vote accordingly. Tactical voting is the single most important thing you can do, and don't be complacent. On the morning or after, whenever you choose to vote on that day, next Thursday, 1 week from today, make sure you get up, get out and vote. Don't let them in because you think it's an easy job. Make sure your vote is counted, and take a pen. Don't allow them to rub your little pencil out. Anyway, when asked by The Record if Farage was afraid to come to Scotland, Tice said he's on great form and he's incredibly busy. But he said, in all seriousness, the last time he did come to Scotland, it was dangerous, frankly, he said, and that's a tragedy. And it is, because there's a lot of people in Scotland who like and support Farage. But the very fact that the SNP Thuggery don't is putting them off. It's against the democratic process, that's for sure. One of the things that Nigel has to think very carefully about is security. And as we've already seen, some issues. He said we've had one of our candidates assaulted and hospitalised. So that's the reality. Unfortunately for senior figures in the political climate and from a number of parties, but particularly from Nigel, security and safety is a real issue. And it is thuggery all the time, because the SNP know they cannot win by force of argument because their argument is so piss poor. And so they do what everyone who's a loser does. They use force in the vain hope that that will win. It's the argument of the stupid, isn't it? Anyway, he said, that's the reality. He said, unfortunately for senior figures in the political climate from a number of parties, but particularly for Nigel, security and safety is a real issue, as I say. He said, when asked if Farage would come to Scotland between now and the polling day, Tice replied, we've got an incredibly busy schedule, so I suspect that it's unlikely, but anything's possible. Tice also said Reform would keep its deposit in every Scottish seat. That is a big claim. I do hope they do, but I think everyone? Don't know. Under its former title of the Brexit Party, Reform stood in 15 Scottish constituencies in the 2019 general election, losing its deposit in all of them. This time around, the party is standing in all 57 Scottish seats. Ty said, none, he said when, what? None? That doesn't make sense. But anyway, he says, I know you all hold me to that. I think he's talking about deposit, how many will he lose? None. He also said jokingly that Reform was aiming to win over half the seats at the 2026 Holyrood election. He says, you've got to be an optimist, he says. We want a majority. And he later had to go at the journalist for lacking a sense of humour over the comments. Well, say it ain't so. I mean, this is the Daily Record, so it's a bit pro-SNP anyway, a bit pro-indie. So a lack of humour is almost obligatory, isn't it? Anyway, we'll come up. So you can't blame Nigel for not going. And, you can't blame anyone to consider their safety, given the track record of SNP intimidation and thuggery. And it's certainly something that I have had to consider when I do if I do, and I do hope I am, going to do my push for a seat in 2026. But again, it's one of those things. I'm no coward. I'll stand there and do it. I'm not suggesting Nigel is a coward, of course, but you do need to be aware. But anyway, there we go. I do think they'll do a lot better than people suggest in Scotland, Reform generally. So we'll wait and see. But I'd say just a week to go. This time next week, people will be in and out of the poll booths, putting their X's in. Make sure you're one of them and use a pen and make sure you vote tactically. Thanks a lot. Take care. Speak soon. Bye.